Hello and welcome to a top 5 video that will probably be more confusing than it is to explain. This is a top 5 best game shows in my opinion that aired on PAX TV. Now PAX TV is not one of the best channels. I say that kindly because, well, they have the best game shows, or one of the few great game shows, but their original programming is what caused the channel to rebrand into Ion Television. And let me be honest, Ion Television, currently, their programming is, The only good show is My Name is Earl. That's if they still air it. I don't know. I rarely watch the channel nowadays. So, moving on. This is a top 5 video on their best programming, or PAX TV's programming that used to air before it changed over to now Ion Television. You get the point. So, here's my top 5 video on my favorite game shows that aired on this channel. And let me tell you, one of them, there's a two-way tie somewhere in the point of the video. So let's get on with the top 5 list. Oh, and another thing I should point out, there's a YouTuber who goes by the username thehoosierfortheUK. He claims that PAX TV's programming was garbage. And guess what? After watching an episode of Touched by an Angel and a few of their original programming that's not game show related, he was right. So anyway, moving on, let's get on with the top 5 list. Number 5. Number 5 goes to Beat the Clock. I know a lot of you are going to kill me when I say this, but this is the version I grew up with because I was born in the mid-90s. I never really watched the older versions until 2007-ish, and yeah. I'm sorry, guys, but this is the one I've been mostly familiar with, so please don't kill me when I say this, but I really like Gary Kroger's version. I like it when he says beat the clock when it's time to start the stunts and stuff. I mean, the older versions are a classic. I will admit the original with Bud Collier was a masterpiece. I like the concept with the cash board on Gene Wood and Jack Nars's version. And Monty Hall's version with the bonus shuffleboard was also nice. But I like the money booth where the winning couple gets in the machine and try to grab as much cash or some of the prize vouchers in the machine within the time limit. So yeah, there's some ups and downs of each version of Beat the Clocks, but that's another topic, so maybe I'll make a what's your opinion video in the future on asking you guys what's your favorite version of Beat the Clock, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's number 5 on my list. Let's now get on with number 4. Number 4 goes to Dirty Rotten Cheater. I feel like this show should have been lasted a bit longer than it originally did. This show only lasted 2 months back in 2003. I think this show should be given a second chance. I hope GSN decides to renew the series and perhaps produce more episodes, but I doubt that will happen, but if it did, that would be awesome. This show is like a mixture between Family Feud, Pointless, and The Enemy Within. So, the game works like this. You're given a question surveyed with top 10 answers, and you're trying to look for the most obscure answer. For example, the lowest is worth 100, and you get the point. So, and one of the 6 contestants is given all the answers, and they're considered the Dirty Rotten Cheater. And it's up to the other players to figure out who it is. If they figure out who it is, then the cheater's out of the game, and one of the remaining players will become the new Dirty Rotten Cheater. But if they fail to find out who it is, then everyone has to pay a penalty of half of their winnings for getting rid of an honest contestant. They keep doing this until they go down to 3 contestants and the audience vote who they think it is. If they reach up to 50%, then that contestant's out, whether they are or are not the cheater. Then it's down to the final 2 contestants, and if you want to watch an episode of Dirty Rotten Cheater, you'll have to watch the UK version because nobody has posted an episode of the US version, which is disappointing because the set on the US version is awesome. I like how our version has a guy in a dark suit considered the Dirty Rotten Cheater. And I just wish somebody would upload an episode of the PAX TV version of Dirty Rotten Cheater. The only thing we have is the pilot, which was called Cheaters, back when it was filmed on the Weakest Link set, which was during the pilot, of course. So, Dirty Rotten Cheater is number 4. If you want to watch an episode, go look up the UK version. The only differences between our version and their version is they only have 5 contestants instead of 6. So, let's move on to number 3. Number 3. Number 3 is a two-way tie between Balderdash and On the Cover. First, let's talk about Balderdash, and then I'll talk about On the Cover. Balderdash is the only one I can find a title card and a screenshot off the show. I can't find one with On the Cover, unfortunately, so you're just going to get a subtitle on screen, so moving on. Balderdash is kind of like Hollywood Squares, but the only difference is you have a third of the celebrities, only 3 celebrities instead of 9. But you start off with a certain amount of points, then you have to, the host gives you a category, and it's your job to wager how many points you want to wager between choosing the truth or Balderdash. Balderdash is like false. So if you predict correctly, pick a celebrity that is not telling the truth of a statement, then you earn points one-on-one. But if you pick a celebrity that is telling the truth, then you earn the point if you wagering the truth and you pick the right celebrity. Otherwise, you're going to lose points. So, Balderdash, I love the concept of the bonus game. It's kind of like Hollywood Squares is 9 keys, but there's 10 letters, and if you pick the correct one, you get a trip. If you don't, you get some nice watches. Nice watches! Pretty cool watches. Hey, you know what? They're lovely watches. They're Croton watches. I'm sorry, I had to copy what Elaine Bootzler said on the show. So, sorry if I keep going off topic. Now let's talk about On the Cover. On the Cover was a game show hosted by Mark L. Wahlberg, who also hosted another one of my favorite shows, that being Russian Roulette, but that's a different topic. Let's get back on to the On the Cover game show. It starts off where they pick 3 contestants, and it starts off with a speed round, and they're given 15 seconds to guess as many celebrities, movies, and it's a pop culture game show, but it has all the bells and whistles on what makes it an awesome show, in my opinion. I always like the buzzer sound effects and bells and whistles on that show. If I ever did a game show, I would definitely mimic On the Cover. But the game works like this. It's 3 contestants, and whoever scores the most points will win. Unfortunately, I can't talk about much about On the Cover, but if you want to see an episode of On the Cover, I'll post an annotation or a link in the description. So, yeah. On the Cover is one of those shows about pop culture. It's another one of those rejected NBC shows, which is why it got on PAX TV. I wish NBC didn't reject Dirty Rotten Cheater or On the Cover. Then the show would have lasted a bit longer. But moving on. Let's get on with number 2. I should mention both of these shows were on Lifetime, so that might spoil a surprise. Number 2. Number 2 goes to Shop Till You Drop. This is one of the 2 shows that I mentioned on my top 5 list that also aired on the Lifetime channel. The reason why this and the other show got removed off the channel is because the channel was meant to be towards a female audience, and too many male viewers were viewing the channel, so that's why Shop Till You Drop and the other show got removed off the list. I'm not going to mention the other show, until we get to number 1, so yeah. Anyway, but I'm sure you might figure it out. So, Shop Till You Drop started back in 1991, and let me tell you, I actually honestly prefer the original theme song from 1991 to 1993. I love the original harmonica and saxophone in the original theme song. There's nothing wrong with the later theme song that you're all familiar with. It's just, there's something about the original that I like. That's just my honest opinion, but yeah. Anyway, moving on to the show. It started off like this. 2 couples, or 2 teams, could win a dream vacation. All they have to do is successfully complete a stunt. If they do things right, they'll earn points. The first round is worth 100 points. Then the second round is 200 points. And if they successfully do the stunt, they'll also go shopping in the mall. And in one of the stores is the shopper special. If they pick that, they win a dream vacation no matter what happens. Then, if they fail the stunt, then they don't get any points. Then comes the shopper's challenge round, where they have 1:30 trying to answer as many questions as they can. Each right answer is worth 50 points. But if they get it wrong, then the opponents get a shot to answer. Whoever has the most points will go to the shopper's special, or the final round, where they can exchange items or keep the items, and they have to get a maximum of $2,500 to win a dream vacation. In the original early episodes, it was $1,000 to go on a dream vacation. But yeah, what I like about JD Roberto's version of the Shop Till You Drop bonus round is where both players exchange items. In the original one person is the buyer and the other is the exchanger, and that same person runs up the stairs and stuff. It can get kind of tiring. That's why I prefer both contestants running in the store, but that's just my honest opinion. When it comes to shows, I actually prefer Pat Finn as a host. And my favorite announcers, arranging them in order, I like D. Baker the most, but I also like Mark Wahlberg, or Mark L. Wahlberg, not to confuse you with anyone else. Yes, the same Mark L. Wahlberg who hosted On the Cover and Russian Roulette. He also hosted Fox's The Moment of Truth. And I'll talk about The Moment of Truth in another video. This is my number 2 show for PAX TV's game shows, and that's Shop Till You Drop. Let's move on to number 1. And now my number 1 favorite PAX TV game show. Number 1 has to go to Supermarket Sweep. This is the best game show ever on PAX TV. This was the show that made me watch the channel in the first place. I mean, some of their other game shows they aired were pretty good, like, as I mentioned, On the Cover, Balderdash, Shop Till You Drop. Those shows were okay. But Supermarket Sweep was what made PAX TV, made me watch the channel in the first place. What I love about this show was mainly people running around the stores with shopping carts and grabbing as much items as they can before the bell rings. That's the part I love about Supermarket Sweep. And also, the show starts off with, they say who's got the Charmin toilet paper, who's got the Jolly Time popcorn, who's got the Ovaltine. You get the point. They call, and then the host says, "Okay, you're on." The announcer was Johnny Gilbert. He was a great announcer for Supermarket Sweep. And yeah, David Ruffer. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, but he was a great host of the show. On the earlier episodes, he always wore a sweater instead of his usual suit and tie. But I'm sure a lot of you figured that. Also, when the show premiered, as you can see on screen, the logo looks a lot different. It looks a lot like the Canadian version of Supermarket Sweep. Well, the logo, not the one that's shown on screen. But back on topic. Yeah, also the theme song was nice and catchy. Both of them. The earlier episodes that I watched reruns, of course, and the later ones that was used. I also love the games that they play to earn more time, like the round robin. That's the best part of the Supermarket Sweep. I'm glad somebody actually uploaded the music to the round robin. If you want to listen to it, look up Supermarket Sweep round robin, and you'll find the music. So yeah. Anyway, this is number 1 on on my list of PAX TV game shows. And if you'd like to share your list, please post it in the comments or in the description. Anyway, this is CuteMimi25 signing off. Have a good one.